I want to be honest with you guys. When I put up the poll for the Yopai video, I expected a certain character to win, and I wouldn't have been surprised if a different character won. I'll talk about Heart Heater and Constance. I did think Heart Heater would have won that poll, and I wouldn't have been surprised if Constance won it either. Heart Heater is a crowd favorite. He was the first character I attached to so quickly. He was a cool, calm, collected loan shark, and apparently super powerful. He's also a rare Dragon Knight that's so cool. And Constance was kind of the opposite. He wasn't exactly loved for a lot of the series. He was the main reason the Zara guild fell, the reason Ethan became so distant. He's also aligned with Giga, the main bad guys of Chapter 1. However, out of the three options, I didn't really expect Master Swordsman to win. He's a great character, however when thinking about the poll, I didn't think people would choose him over the other two. However, I have to agree with this commenter over here. Master Swordsman is such an important aspect of the story, and of Ethan and Sora's character arc. He does not get enough love. So let's talk about the leader of Grassroots Guild, Master Swordsman. And trust me, it's gonna suck to say his name throughout this entire video. Master Swordsman first appeared in episode 26, during the fight for the Ego Sword. He was one of the very few who acted very friendly towards Ethan, which comes as a surprise. Ethan, the hardcore leveling warrior, is kind of a terrible person to just about everyone. But seeing someone act so chummy with him, picking on him like an older brother, and being happy to see him traveling with someone, all this is interesting to us. It all comes down to his backstory. You see, I've already talked in depth about the Zara guild, but let me quickly break it down. Before Ethan was number 1, he was part of the Zara guild. Ethan back then was much more shy? Nice, I guess? Anyways, back when he was ranked 88, he dueled against Master Swordsman. You see, current Master Swordsman is unranked. However, back then he was ranked 3. Anyways, they dueled and Ethan lost. However, Master Swordsman was impressed. Ethan was the only one to scar his forehead. He respects Ethan's strength and determination, and wants Ethan to join the guild he's in, the Zara guild. However, he doesn't want to force Ethan to join. He believes that if Ethan was forced to join, he wouldn't fight at his full strength. So he only takes 1 gold coin from him. This moment is interesting. Master Swordsman doesn't really care about anything that Ethan could give him. He only really cares about the person. Other people would have forced Ethan to join. Or maybe even gave something more. Because Ethan, while not number 1 ranked yet, probably still had a lot to give. All he cared about was the player. And so only taking 1 gold coin from him establishes something. That he genuinely cares about people. He doesn't think he should force anything. If something's gonna happen, then it'll happen. Anyways, Ethan refuses to join. But, like an introverted nerd, he goes to the castle where the guild is and awkwardly looks around for it. That's right, the main reason that Ethan joined the Zara guild was because of Master Swordsman. So the whole reason that Ethan went through his character arc of trusting and being part of a family, and then having that ripped from him, and then trusting no one, is because of Master Swordsman. Is that, now that I'm saying that out loud, that doesn't sound like a good thing. However, it's important to his character, so it's fine, it's fine. These two spend a lot of time together, either dueling, questing, or fighting together. Master Swordsman becomes a very important part of Ethan's life. Look at this moment. Could you see Ethan doing this now? No, because Master Swordsman became an important part of Ethan's life when Ethan was still happy, innocent, naive, I guess? For the few that don't know, the Zara guild fell. Master Swordsman left to form his own guild. Constance, who was a part of Zara, along with much of the other guilds, went to Giga, and Ethan went on his own. However, right before leaving, he dueled Master Swordsman, taking Master Swordsman's skill, Moonlight Slash. Yes, that Moonlight Slash. The skill, half skill, that Ethan almost always uses. It came from Master Swordsman over here. Anyways, that brings us back to presence, where Master Swordsman still cares about Ethan, while Ethan blames Constance for Zara's fall, which is true. However, he still feels angry at the entire guild. cutting himself off from his old friends because they all stopped looking for Arms, their old guild leader. And Master Swordsman breaks the news to Ethan. Arms has been dead for a while now. That's why she's nowhere to be found. That's why they stopped looking for her. It's interesting that Master Swordsman breaks the news to Ethan just now, 2 years later. He knew, but he wanted to keep it secret. I think he wanted to make sure Ethan was in a stable mindset to accept the fact that she was dead. If he told Ethan right away, he might not even believed him, or it probably would have emotionally wrecked him. Right now it only angers him into punching Master Swordsman until the guards come. Was this the best course of action? We'll talk about that in a bit. Anyways, he appears a bit later, making small appearances, just commenting on how strong number 1 ranked Ethan was. But his next big moment is becoming kind of a mentor to Sora, giving her real-world experience and helping her learn to fight better. All because Master Swordsman owes a favor to Heart Eater. Which, let's be frank, everyone in that game probably does. Anyways, he makes her fight a red player, and this makes Sora learn that she has to fight with everything she got. Not exactly what Master Swordsman was going for, but whatever, it works. Later, he makes an appearance during the war between Giga and the Alliance, not really doing a lot, still fighting, but not much else. And he gives his word on what conceptual magic is, kind of, explaining it to us. He really does feel like a mentor, not just to his teammates or his friends, but even people like Sora. He doesn't really feel like he's on his side. Yeah, he's a good guy, however most of the time, he seems neutral compared to the other good guys. He's the most level-headed and calm out of the grassroots guilds, and even most other teams. Anyways, that brings us to the final arc of Chapter 1. The battle, which I will lovingly call the Battle of the Gods. That's cool enough for that end part, right? Yeah, alright. Anyways, yes, Master Swordsman is fighting the Nightmare, but basically everyone does that. I'm more interested in the Nightmare dopplegangers, which is a staple of these videos by now. The Nightmare dopplegangers, as Nightmare Yopai explains, is born out of a player's emotion. Now, it's unclear how they work. They do seem like evil versions of the players that they're doppelganging, or at least kind of opposites. This is a weird kind of metaphor to use, but kind of like when you make a number negative, where if the number starts out close to 0, if you make it negative, it's going to stay close to 0. However, if it's far away from 0, and you make it negative, it's still going to be far away from 0 and further away from the original number. I say this because the AE with the Nightmare doppelgangers provides us a lot of insight on how they work. Sora enjoys fighting alongside strong companions and admires Ethan. However, Nightmare Sora is the opposite, where she doesn't care about fighting alongside strong companions and only is focused on killing the hardcore leveling warrior. I say this because out of everyone, Nightmare Master Swordsman, which aside from being a ridiculous name, seems the most like his counterparts. Notice that he saved someone who just saved him, and is seemingly going to go into an inspiring talk about teamwork, but is cut off by Nightmare BB comparing the two Master Swordsmen age. But he should be comparing them further. While Nightmare Master Swordsman is a much more crude and aggressive Master Swordsman, they both seem like leaders. They both seem very close to the middle. Like how 5 and -5 aren't too far apart compared to 100 and -100. This all is leading me to say that Master Swordsman seems more like a neutral character. It's obvious he's a good guy. However, it's clear that he takes time to understand both sides and is willing to hear out everyone. It's not just evil and good, he's a bit more gray than the most. Now, if you haven't seen the other 2 videos of Hardcore Leveling Warrior before this, then you should, because I've been developing a D&D alignment chart with Hardcore Leveling Warriors. I have filled out 3 of these spots, so if you don't want to get spoiled on which characters go where, then go watch these videos in the iCard right now. Then come back to see where Master Swordsman goes. You all ready? Alright, here's our current standing. And it's Master Swordsman time. I think I've done a good enough job convincing you that Master Swordsman belongs in the neutral section. But if that wasn't enough, let me explain a little further. While yes, he was caring to people, I'd say it's no more or even less than others. Yopai starts a war because one of his teammates was kidnapped. Master Swordsman doesn't really have any moments like this. Yes, he cares about his team, but he seems like the more tough love kind of guy. The one who does things that may seem rude or mean, but it's to push you to become something better. Something I don't think someone in the good category could do. He also hides the fact that Arms is dead from Ethan for 2 years. That's definitely not a good moral move. Is that enough convincing? Alright, good. Now, does he belong in lawful or neutral? I think he belongs in lawful neutral. He follows orders and cares about authority, from his guild leaders to the gods of the world, to owing up favors and things like that. I think the reason he doesn't tell Ethan was because Arms asked Master Swordsman not to talk about it during the game. So it could be that she asked him not to tell anyone who didn't already know. Which is kind of like following orders past her grave. He's the one who's willing to follow you to the ends of the earth. So I believe he goes into lawful neutral. Next time we talk, it's going to be the person who caused the Zara guild to fall. But until then, thank you for watching.